Probably a little small. Just turn around.
That's perfect. He looks good.
Family means like
Family
love.
means that everyone stays together, and that's it.
Everyone stays together. Family always meant people I felt comfortable with and loved, I guess. I think that a lot of people who have two parents living at home and one child or multiple child all living together as a nuclear family, I think that is often how society sees family. But I think that people who don't have that type of family, that's not what family means to them. So I grew up in a family with parents who were together, who raised 3 children together, and friends who had single parents or parents who were divorced or deceased. I didn't really pay attention to them as a family. Now that I'm living as a single mother with Chloe, this is what family truly means to me. It's home is when we are together. If I compare this to friends of mine who are the same age, who are married and have children, when they go out for a family day together, it looks very typical in society's viewpoints, I believe. And then when I go out with a family day with just me and my daughter, and I think maybe it's perceived as a mother-daughter day, but that's my family day. I could invite my parents and my brothers, and that would maybe society would see that more as a family day. But I think it's a different thing. When I first got pregnant with Chloe, I was told I had to get married in order to have a baby. So I think people believe that you don't have a family unless there's a marriage. People believe it builds a family. It's the concrete structure of family. I think it's changing. Maybe. I think it's changing to be a lot more open, for there to be a much more open definition of family. I'm hoping maybe when Chloe is even a little bit older that people will see her and I as a family rather than just mother and daughter. Yeah, so I think it's changing for the better, in my belief.
I'm done.
Congratulations. Families have fun together. Family can be anything. If there's someone else in our lives who needs a family or who can,
Mommy.
we could add to our family, and that would be okay.
Mommy.
And we will continue to be a family.
Mommy,
Yes, honey.
can you please paint the nails now?
In just a minute, yeah. Families come in and families can be anything. For me, family is love. So wherever there's love, it doesn't matter how many people, what sex the people are, what ages the people are. It's a family. I like that. That gave me goosebumps. I think that's really nice because we are a family. We are a family. I think there's not enough media about different types of families. That different types of families can also be happy. Done.
I'm laughing because we've debated this before, whether our family is Ben and I and Annika, an unnamed child, or
And Griffin Yoshi.
and Griffin and Yoshi. I mean, they're obviously our family.
I think there were a few important factors for my conception of family growing up. my parents have a much more traditional, in quotes, marital relationship, in the sense that my dad was not particularly involved in anything domestic. You know, I feel like we grew up with a lot of opportunity, shared values with my parents. I think I was aware, even from a relatively young age, that there were things I wanted to do fundamentally differently from how my parents did them.
A part of it that is potentially different for us was that Ben was the one who was really wanting to have kids and was very certain about wanting to have kids. I was much less certain, and it took us a good 2.5 years to get pregnant, and a lot of traumatic events, I think, unfolded during that process that tested our relationship. So there were a lot of times, I think, during that process where we were together on it, and then there were a lot of times where we were struggling separately in our own ways. I think for me it was really hard because I couldn't fulfill that for Ben, and I really wanted to give him that gift, and it was really hard on me that I couldn't. Junior was a shock, and it's almost like a little bit embarrassing for us because we so strongly identified with the like, oh, well, we're just not the kind of people who can have sex and make babies, and then we were like, oh, wow, yeah, that happened.
I'm so much more aware now when I'm in a group of people that likely every individual that I'm sharing time and space with either is currently struggling with or has recently overcome some important life issue. And so I think I'm just much more careful about what I say and about making flippant comments about different things that, I would have thought would be funny before, and I don't really think are funny anymore. As an example of that, I have joked in the past about texting while driving, and now know that co-workers of mine's sister was killed by a driver who was texting and driving, and that would be a pretty awful thing to hear if you lost a family member to it, so I don't joke about that.
I think it just has enabled us to connect in more with kind of families and friends who are not taking the normative path. So like on the outset we look like we're fairly on that path of, you get married, you have babies, but because it wasn't so easy for us, it's allowed us the ability to appreciate and understand how hard it is to be outside of that normative experience, and to relate to our friends who are either single parenting or our gay friends who are having babies or adopting babies, and just different paths to different types of families.
That you don't want to join us? Yeah. I'm not putting you on the spot. But I'm giving you one last invitation. Okay. Because you're a part of our family. But you don't have to be in front of him to be a part of our family.
You have to say your name, Cliff.
Yeah.
This is my mom, Annie, and this is Cliff, and this is Lisa.
Going to be most likely ongoing as she grows up, like wanting to have the language to explain what's happening, and like sometimes you need help. That doesn't always just come naturally. Like you might need other examples of similar things that could help you not only explain it, but then also like feel good about it. I really love books, and I feel like in my life, whenever there's something I wanted to learn, I like wrote a book about it. And even for summer, things that have happened with your father, we found books about like examples of that happening to other people. I think it's really helpful to see that you're not the only one. What I was kind of imagining was a picture book of just like a lot of different kinds of family, just for her to look at. Already at times it's come up in school of like, I'm jealous that this girl like has a dad that lives with her. It's hard to be the only one having something different than like the norm, whether it's like same single parents, same sex families, whatever, like things outside of kind of like the nuclear family. So I was kind of imagining it almost being something like a picture book for her to look at and be like, oh, look at this family. Like there's two moms with the baby, or like a single mom who's adopted this girl, or like there's a single woman with a dog and she feels like that's like her family base. I think I thought I was starting out with like that kind of semi-traditional, like actually when Summer was born, my plan was to stay home and for her father to work full time. And then that kind of didn't work out. There was a while where I was staying home with her. There was a while where I was in school, and she started school, and then meeting him and Cliff coming into the picture. So like a lot of the deep details might change over time, but as long as there's kind of like that strong base.
I think it's important to note that a family is not just who you're related to by blood, but who you deem that you're going to take care of and who's important to you. That is family, and that's kind of always been what my family and my family background has brought me up to believe, is that it's not about blood, it's about who's there for you when everything else is falling down and everyone else would probably give up. With that, I would try to keep that same approach in mind with what I do with Amy and Summer. I mean, it comes naturally because I just haven't been involved in that type of experience yet, but I try to do the best that I can as a person and a human being to do well by Summer and do well by Amy.
Because I kind of feel like as a society, we're kind of in a process of like opening and expanding, I guess. And I think part of expanding is kind of like the old way, having to like break apart and die a little bit. I mean, I can imagine a world where relationships are very different than they are now.
There's a lot of social movement right now that they're recognizing that the family base is eroding, and that it's this culture that's lost in materialism. We should be looking at other beings, never mind people, as something that we can get something from. That they are the end goal. They are the things that we should be valuing in our lives.
Just